40 foundations which I have and which we are gonna swatch today. Hi everyone, welcome. Today we are gonna do a foundation swatch party. I have around 40 foundations to swatch today. In fact, I have a little bit more, but those are like different shades of the same product. But today I'm gonna be swatching the shades which suits my skin tone, and there are 40 foundations which I have. So this one includes foundation, BB cream, skin tint, everything is included in this. So it's gonna be a very high level review only with the swatches. Honestly speaking, just the swatches will not help you to identify, if the foundation matches your skin tone. You need to blend it, and you need to, leave it for some time to check how much it oxidizes, and check it with your neck to see if the foundation suits you. So that's how you need to really identify if the foundation shade matches you. As I said, today is going to be only a foundation swatch party where I'm going to be swatching all the foundations on my face if in case it fits. Else I'll be swatching a little bit on my hand as well. I have done detailed reviews about some of these foundations in my individual videos. You can definitely have a look at it if you want to know a detailed review about the foundation. So let us start with two shades which I'll be using as a reference, which I usually tell in all my foundation videos. So M.A.C foundation of shade NC42 and Maybelline of shade 312 is a good reference because most of them use these foundations and use this as a reference to go ahead and try other foundation shades. So these are the foundations, the 40 foundations which I have and which we are gonna swatch today. I'm gonna be starting with the reference shades, as I said. So this is the M.A.C Studio Fix foundation. So this is the newer version, and I have the shade NC42, and this is the Maybelline Fit Me foundation, and I have the shade 312. So I'll start with the M.A.C foundation first. So this is the newer version of the M.A.C foundation, and the older version was more matte finish, and this one is kind of a soft matte, a dewy matte finish. That's the shade. So as I said, initially it will definitely look lighter considering the oxidization level. So that's how the shade looks when you swatch it. Next, I'm going to be using the Maybelline 312. So that's how it looks. So Maybelline foundation is definitely a great one, an affordable drugstore foundation which gives you an absolute beautiful finish, and it lasts for a really long time. So next set of foundations is going to be random from this lot which I have. So the next one which I'm going to be swatching is the Nykaa's SkinShield anti-pollution foundation, and I have the shade Toasty Caramel. So that's the shade. So this is a pretty good foundation. It is travel friendly, and it gives you a nice, pretty good, matte finish, good for oily skin. Next one, I'm going to be using the Mars BB cream, and I have the shade 04 Tan. And that is the shade. So this one is a good one, but I find it a little bit difficult to blend it. But it's a very, a cost-effective foundation or a BB cream. So next is the L'Oreal Paris Infallible 32-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation, and I have the shade 260 Golden Sun. So this one will definitely look, a little bit lighter for me, but as it oxidizes, it actually, goes on well. So that's how the shade looks. So the next one is the KIRO Daily Dewy Serum Foundation. The shade, I'm not very sure. I think it is Almond, but I will provide the details in the description. You can have a look at it. This is a great, serum-based foundation, and I really love this one. That is the shade. Next one is the Insight HD foundation. It's a high coverage dewy finish foundation, and I have the shade MN30. This is also a good one. It gives you a pretty good coverage, very, very affordable. That is the shade. Next one is the Charmacy Milano CMC Matte Foundation, and I have the shade 05. So I recently did a review about this. This is pretty good, but if you apply too much, it becomes like too dried up, I would say. So I will swatch it here. That's the shade. The shade is pretty good, but if you apply it less for a medium coverage, The finish is really good, especially for oily skin people. And I really loved the product for a medium coverage. Next one is the Pilgrim's Dream Matte Serum Foundation, and I have the shade 223 Warm Sand. This is a pretty good foundation. It is a serum based again, and it gives you a very good coverage, and I love the finish of it as well. So that is the shade. This also might look a little bit lighter, but once you blend in, it goes well. So the next one which I have is the Plum Soft Blend Weightless Foundation. This is definitely weightless. It gives you a nice soft matte finish, and I have the shade 128Y, and this is a kind of matte finish foundation, and the product is really good. You should definitely try this. And this is a very, very good shade match. So next one is my recent favorite. This is the Charlotte Tilbury's Airbrush Flawless Foundation, and I have the shade 8 Warm, a pretty good match, shade match, and the finish is like so good. I really loved it. It is expensive, but I really loved it. So I will put on here. That's the shade. The next one is the Cover Capsule from Cuffs and Lashes. This is a hydrating long wear foundation. I used it just to, I got it actually just to try it, but I did not use it much. The shade was a little bit light for me. The shade which I have is Light Honey. It gives a pretty good coverage, but I found it a little bit difficult to blend in. So that is the shade. It is actually a light shade for me. I actually used to mix it with a bit of a contour shade when I used it. Next one is again from Pilgrim. It's the Pilgrim Glow BB Cream. This has got SPF 50, PA++++, and it gives you a nice matte finish. I really love this, especially for traveling and if you're going out for beaches or something, and if you want a very lightweight makeup, this is absolutely great. I really love this. I used it a lot. And the shade which I have is Almond Glow. This shade is also a pretty good match. It's kind of a little bit orangish, but once you blend in, it gets settled in very well. So the next one is the Maybelline's Fit Me Skin Tint, Fit Me Fresh Tint actually, and this has also got SPF 50. I have not used this much. The shade which I have is 09. The shade range is very bad in this, I would say. I think this is the second last shade, and it is still light for me. And the texture is also not really great. It's kind of a little bit watery. You need to shake it very well, but still, the texture, the product is not that great. That's the shade. Not sure if you can notice the texture. It's not that great. Next one, I have this My Glam's Pose HD Foundation Stick, and I have the shade Shell Beige, and this is how it is. So it's a foundation stick. This is pretty good. It gives you a light coverage and a little bit of glow as well. So if you're using for like everyday use, or if you're looking for light makeup, this is really good. So I'm gonna swatch it somewhere where it is easy to get the shade. So I'll swatch it here. That's the shade. But I feel it's a little bit expensive for this for this quantity. It's like 599, but usually in My Glam you get a lot of offers, like buy one get one, or there'll be many offers, so you can definitely try it. The next one is the Nykaa's Matte to Last Pore Minimizing Foundation, and I have the shade 09N Tan. I really love this. It's travel friendly, and I've used it a lot. It gives you a pretty good finish. So one of the good products from Nykaa. So that is the shade. It blends in very well. It gives you a kind of a medium coverage. The next one is the Just Herbs Skin Tint, and I have the shade 4 Sand. I've tried multiple shades in this. There is also a full coverage foundation by Just Herbs, but I really did not like that. It was giving a full coverage, but it wasn't that great. This one also is not that great. It is a skin tint, and I have not used it much. because I didn't like it that much. And the shade range is so bad to identify which shade actually suits you. It is so difficult for me to get a pump out of it. So that is the shade. You can see it is very ashy. All the shades in fact are very ashy, I feel. Next one is the Maybelline's Super Stay Lumi Matte Foundation, and I have the shade 330. So this is a really good lightweight foundation. I really love this, but the shade range is very bad. I have 330, which is a bit darker for me. So if I wear it, I have to set it well with a lighter shade of compact. But the product is really good. If there is the previous shade is 310, which I feel is more lighter for my skin, but nevertheless, let's try it. This blends in so well. That is the shade. The next product is the Lakmé's 9 to 5 foundation, and I have the shade Warm Caramel. So this is about to expire actually. I don't know, all the Lakmé foundations which I've got so far, it expires very soon. So this one is very lightweight, but what I feel is it kind of gives you that grayish finish. I don't know if it's the shade which I chose is wrong, but it's like okay, I would say. Let me swatch this here directly. So that is the shade. The next one is the Mamaearth's Hydra Glow Full Coverage Foundation. I think this is a kind of a newer launch a few months back, and I have the shade Caramel Glow. This is also a really good one. It gives you a pretty good coverage. So let me show the shade. So that is the shade. This is actually a little bit lighter shade for me, but once you blend in and if you apply too much, it'll look very light. But for a medium coverage, this shade is good. And Mamaearth products are usually good, so it's a good try. Next one is the Nykaa Super Light Serum Infused Skin Tint. This is again a new launch from them recently, and the shade which I have is 330Y. The shade is pretty okay. It's not that bad, but the finish which you get is, I feel, is a little bit kind of an oily finish. For oily skin people, I don't think it suits that well. I have done a detailed review. You can have a look at it. So that's the shade. Next one is the Faces Canada All Day Hydra Matte Foundation, and I have the shade Warm Sand. So this is a really good foundation, travel friendly, and the match is also really good. But I think the shade ranges are very minimal, or this is the last shade if I'm not wrong. So if you want a darker shade, I'm not sure if you would really get it, but this is a really good foundation. You should try. I will use this spot for it. So that is the shade. So this is, I think this is the first foundation which I've tried and used, and I've been using since then, now and then. So next one is the Swiss Beauty's Airbrush Finish Full Coverage Foundation, and I have the shade Caramel Beige. This is definitely a full coverage foundation, but you need to blend in immediately after applying, because it becomes patchy if you do not blend in immediately. And the shade match is also pretty good for my skin. So I will use it here. So it might look lighter, but once you blend in, it blends in pretty well, and it oxidizes a little bit, so it goes on well. Next one is the Sugar's Ace of Face foundation stick, and I have the shade 47 Borgia. This is also a really good foundation stick, easy to carry. It's got a brush as well, which is not very helpful. It doesn't blend in very well with a brush, but with your normal brush, it blends in pretty well, and the shade is also a really good match. So I'll do it this side. So that is the shade. It doesn't oxidize that much, so the shade is a pretty good match. Next one is another favorite one of mine, which is K Beauty's Hydrating Foundation, if I'm not wrong. And this one blends in so well, and the finish is not matte, but the finish is good. Especially dry skin people will definitely love this. I have the shade 170 White Tan, which is a pretty good match. Initially, I felt it was a little bit darker for me, but it doesn't oxidize that much, so the shade is okay. Here. So So that is the shade. I don't have a count of how much I've done so far, but anyways. Next one is the My Glam Super Serum BB Cream, and I have the shade 301 Almond. So this one again is travel friendly. I haven't used it much. I've just used it once or twice. So it's pretty okay, I would say. It doesn't give you that full coverage. It gives you a light coverage, good for that daily wear types. I'll swatch it here. So that is the shade. Blending part is okay with this. It doesn't blend in that easily. I would say you need to like rub like your normal creams which you use. Next one is my another favorite foundation, which is the PAC HD Liquid Foundation. I have the shade 3.0, and this is a really good product. I really love the coverage you get and the finish you get with it. The shade might be a little bit lighter compared to other shades, but once you blend in and once it gets settled in, it goes really well. This also oxidizes a little bit. Next one is the foundation from Ruby's Organic. So this is like a plant-based mattifying foundation, which is like 100% organic as per them. And this shade which I have is M02.2. You won't get a full coverage with this. The shade is also like okay, a pretty good match, but it has a kind of a fragrance. So that is the shade. It's got a kind of a fragrance which some may not like it, but it's okay for a daily use, and it's 100% organic, so you can definitely use it. The finish is also good for a light to medium coverage. Next one is the Estee Lauder's Double Wear Stay in Place Makeup Foundation, and I have the shade 4W1 Honey Bronze. So this is a really good foundation. Coverage is great. It lasts for a really long time, and the finish is really great. Especially for summer. This foundation is good. It doesn't come with a pump. That's one disadvantage. The shade, I feel it's a little bit light, but if you're doing like kind of a full makeup, full coverage makeup, this shade will definitely go well. So that is the shade. So that's the shade. So it's not like a warm shade or warm tone shade, I would say. It's kind of neutral, I feel. Again, I have not used it as much as I've used the MAC foundation or the Charlotte Tilbury foundation. Next one is the Insight Ultra Thin Second Skin Longwear Foundation. So this is the first Insight foundation which I got. It's got SPF 15 as well, and I have the shade Golden Honey. The shade was looking very different. It was more like a pinkish, kind of a foundation shade. So it comes with this dropper like this. So I'll just take a bit. So that is the shade. So you can see here it looks more like a pinkish shade, but it's very lightweight, it's very liquidy. Once you blend in, it kind of blends in very well. The shade, it doesn't look that pink, but the coverage is very light, or sheer to light. Next one, I have this M.A.C Studio Fix Everywhere All Over Face Pen, and again I have the shade NC42. So this one I wanted to try. The shade is not very different. The formula is also not very different, but it is easy to carry, but expensive compared to the the other foundation bottle. It also works as a concealer because I feel it's a little bit thicker compared to the foundation. So it's a pen, you need to like press it. It's actually easy to carry. So that is the shade. It's similar to the other Studio Fix foundation, but one thing is it's like the older version of the the MAC foundation, not like the newer one. Next one is the NY Base 3-in-1 foundation, and I have the shade Warm Sand 05. So this also comes with a dropper like this. The shade is actually a little bit kind of more orangish, and it looks a little bit dark, but when you blend in, it doesn't, look very dark. So that's the shade. But as I said, once you blend in, it doesn't show. It's very lightweight, similar to the Insight, the foundation, the Second Skin foundation. It blends in very well, and it gives kind of a sheer to light coverage. Next, let's try the Smashbox Halo Glow Tinted Moisturizer, and I have the shade Medium Tan. So this is the mini version. I just wanted to try and see how good it is. This is really good, lightweight, gives you a very nice, finish. But, as an oily skin person, I did not like the finish which you get, unless and until you set it really well with your compact and powder. So that is the shade. The shade match is pretty good. Next one is the LA Girl Pro Matte Foundation. This is the HD Longwear Matte Foundation, and I have the shade Soft Honey. This is a really good one. So LA Girl has another version as well, but I wanted to try the matte version of it, which is really good. The coverage is like amazing, and the shade match is also pretty good. So if you're looking for a fuller coverage foundation, this is a pretty good match. I will apply it here. So that is the shade. It might look a little bit lighter, but after oxidization, it goes on well. Next one, let's try the Maybelline Superstay Foundation, and this is of shade 312 again. And this one is a really full coverage foundation compared to the Fit Me one, but the shade is actually a little bit lighter. So 312 is the same shade, but it is a little bit lighter compared to the Fit Me one. I will apply it on my nose. So that is the shade. Next, we'll see the House of Makeup skin tint. So this is the Luminous Skin Tint, Face Anything Luminous Skin Tint, and I have the shade M15. So this is also a really good, skin tint. Like it's, they say it's a dupe of the Smashbox, but I feel this is more better because I like the matte finish you get from this. I have done a detailed review. You can have a look. So I'll use my neck now. So that is the shade. It blends in very well and it gives you a nice finish. I really love that part, and it's affordable compared to the Smashbox. Next, we'll see the Mars High Coverage Foundation, and I have the shade 6.5. I've done a detailed review comparing 3 shades, 6, 6.5 and 7. All the shades are not that great, I would say, honestly, but this is like an okay match comparatively. And it's really a high coverage foundation, but the blendability part is a little difficult. It doesn't blend in very easily. So I will apply it here. So that is the shade 6.5. It's light as you can see, but the shade 7 is very dark. Next, we'll see the e.l.f. Soft Gland Satin Foundation, and I have the shade 40 Tan. So this is also a very lightweight foundation, easy to carry, and finish is also pretty good. Again, it's not that matte finish. The shade, I think it's a little bit darker. You can go for a lighter shade, but if you are setting it well with a lighter compact, it will still go well. So that is the shade. Next one is the Mamaearth's Glow Serum Foundation. The other one was the Hydra Glow Foundation. So this is the older one, and I have the shade Toffee Glow. And this is also a pretty good one. It gives you a good coverage, and the shade is also good. So that is the shade. Now for the last foundation, the 40th foundation, it's the Nykaa's All Day Matte Foundation, and I have the shade Maple 10. Initially, I tried Honey, but that was a little bit dark for me. It was making my face look dull, so I tried Maple 10. This is actually light for me. I think you can try Nutmeg if you're in my shade, but I will swatch this for you to know the shade. So that is the shade. But again, this one, once you blend in and set it up, maybe for a medium coverage, this shade will look good once you set it up with a full makeup. And this foundation is really good. It gives you a pretty good coverage, lasts for quite some time, and it gives you a nice matte finish. So these are the swatches of the 40 foundations which I have in use. Some of it I don't use it, some of it I use regularly, and some of it I use very, rarely. So these are the shades which I use. Some of it is not really great, like for example, the skin tint is like absolute disaster, I would say. Some of it are a little bit darker shades, some of it really goes well, with my skin. Some of it are, a very lighter shade. So, as I said, just the swatches will not help you to identify which shade, works for you. You need to blend in and check if it goes well with your neck and leave it a little bit for oxidization, and then choose your foundation. So for me, these are pretty good matches, and I regularly use a lot of foundation, which I've used it now, especially the high-end brands. I really love those foundations. So yeah, that is the swatch party from my end. And I really loved doing this video today. I was waiting for a long time to do such a video, and I'm content. So I hope you liked this video and it was useful. If you liked it, please click on like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching and have a great day ahead.